Are you a beginner in the makeup field? Are you finding it difficult to draw your brows to perfection? Then trust me guys, sit down because this is actually 100% meant for you. Hey my lovelies, MK Chami here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial we're going to learn how to draw our brows to perfection, to perfection. If you are a first timer, you really would want this to be your last. Trust me guys, you really would not want this to be your last, so you have to stick around by clicking the subscribe button and also click on the notification icon so if I want to post a new video. And don't forget to go to the thumbs up, like it will mean a whole lot to us. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks you so much for always sticking around. We really do appreciate all your efforts to make us to get this far. Well, I'm going to start off by carving the brows, and I'm going to just do this quickly just so we head to the major tutorial for today. If you want a detailed tutorial on how this brows is being carved, more like an updated method of how to carve your brows, I'm going to post a link to this video. Check the description button so you can see the link on how to carve your brows to perfection as well. I made a video before this particular video and it's already currently on our page, so you get to see how to carve your brow. It's actually a rough sketch or a rough video on how to get it done. Then we go right into the tutorial for the day. So guys, for the topic of today, how to draw the brow, I'm going to show us how to use our gel liner. I'm using Cara gel liner and then my Davis eye pencil in color 3 to get the particular brow we're going to learn today for beginners. It's actually a fully shaded brow, not really 3D kind of brow. Now for the brow, we're going to start with learning the part of the brows first. Now we have the brow bone, we have the arc, we have the tail, we have the origin. Now the beginning part is called the origin. This is actually called the origin of the brow. The part goes to your nose contour. Then the upper part is called your arc. Then under the arc you have your brow bone, also known as your brow highlight, but basically known as brow bone. I'm going to be using brow bone for this tutorial. We have the arc, then the tail. So we have the origin, the arc, the brow bone, and the tail. All right, origin, arc, brow bone, and tail. Now I'm going to start my drawing first with going halfway from the arc and the origin. So I'm using these terms so you understand what I'm trying to say. We have the arc, we have the origin, we have the brow bone and the tail. Now when it comes to filling, you're going to feel like halfway your origin and halfway your arc. So you say I'm going to divide it into two. Like the filling starts from halfway your origin, halfway to your arc. Fill it. You can shade as much as you want. Add so much product. It doesn't really matter. Just so it's very, very dark. Now when you're done filling, you get your mascara brush and then use it to blend. Mind you, we don't really use fillers up to the origin. You just have to use the little lead from your mascara brush and then keep blending it upward, or let's say outward towards your origin, and that's how we get to make the origin a little bit faint. Because you are drawing the brow, you're drawing your brows, you really want the origin to have that natural kind of look. Although we know that yet it's brow, but yet we need that origin to be having the natural kind of look. As you can see, the origin is actually a bit lighter compared to the arc or down to the tail. So that's how you want it to be. Now for the pencil, we're going to learn how to use pencil and see the difference between the gel and the pencil, right? So we're going to do the same method for the pencil as well as gel, right? So since we're going to the pencil, we're going to start ahead but to create the shape we want first. Okay, we're going to start to create a very, very preferred shape. Depend on your own hand. As a makeup artist, everybody have different ways or shape they draw their brows, but yet ensure that you shade your way halfway to the origin. We don't really shade straight up to the origin. And so when you're done, you can shade as much as you want. Just ensure that the arc and the tail is very, very dark, because you really want it to have that transition. Like it's actually light at the origin and then it's getting darker. So that's what we want for the natural brows. So you end up by blending out the lines and then keep blending out to the origin. So origin have just little lead on it, and the more you go in, it gets darker. So blend, so you'll be having a very faint origin. Now you're going to see the difference between the eye pencil and the gel. For me, I prefer using the gel. It's actually coming out more than eye pencil, but then I love using both. Now for concealer, I'm using Adventure Concealer in shade 3. to conceal the brow bone. Okay, now when it comes to concealing your brows, please take notes. You don't conceal using the lightest shade from the origin. Now this can only happen if you are already a professional. You won't have a problem blending out your concealer. If you are a beginner, I would advise you use 2 shades to do your concealing. That is one, her exact foundation, and then a light shade concealer. So right now I'm using the light shade concealer. It's like 2 shades lighter than her. So I'm going to use 2 shades lighter than your client to conceal under the brow bone. Okay, but don't get to your origin. As you can see, I'm leaving my origin a little bit bare because I'm going to use a darker shade for that reason, so that you can easily blend it out. So take your time while concealing. I always tell my students in the academy, if you're concealing your brow, you're not in a hurry. Okay, when it comes to brow, take your time, because your brows need to be browsing, you get. Now when it comes to the origin of your brows, I would advise you use her shade foundation. I'm using her shade foundation. This is actually very beneficial to our makeup artists, but if you are a beginner, I would really advise you use her foundation to conceal the origin and somehow the tail, so that it's easy for you to blend out. If you are a, let's say, an upgrade student, or if you're already a professional, it may be easy for you to blend out and not spoil the line you've already concealed, right? Because you know concealing is meant for you to have that brow to be very neat, for you to have that very lovely line, right? Or so if you are a beginner and not an upgrade student or a professional, when blending that you find it difficult and end up tinting that line if already perfectly concealed. So I would advise you use your foundation for the origin, and then you go over with a blending brush to blend out. As you can see, the origin is actually a bit darker, and then as it goes into the brow bone, it's actually lighter. That's why they call it most time the brow highlight. That part needs to be very, you know, it needs to be loud and outspoken, like it needs to be visible from afar. My friend will say, my highlight must blind somebody. That is it. Now coming to the up part of your brows, to conceal the up part, you also use, I prefer using the foundation. You can use other shade of pro concealer, a darker shade of pro concealer as well. It's also preferable, but then I personally, or the way I teach my students, you go over to use your foundation so that it will be easy for you to blend out. Okay, you use your foundation to conceal the upper part of your brows. Mind you need to be extremely careful, because you want to get a very lovely shape, and you're not in a hurry to draw your brows. I always tell my students, you're not in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to draw your brows. You can blend as fast as you want to blend, but when it comes to brows, take your time, but also be cautious of your time. Okay, don't just sleep on it, but cautious of your time, but take your time to ensure that you have a perfect shape. When you're done with that, you blend out using your blending brush, so when you start to apply your foundation, it won't be hard for you. I'm going to do that same process again for the other part of the brow. Start from the origin, ensure that both sides are equal, like the beginning of both brows are equal, so you know that the one is not as big, one is not bigger than one, and then you go over gradually, trace it to the tail, and you blend out. Now if you are done blending this out, you can as well go over to apply your foundation and do your other process. But if you are kind of makeup artist that love doing your let's say your eyeshadow before doing your skin work, then you, after blending it out, you go over to set your brow highlight. Okay, I'm going to be using my setting powder, Sacha Buttercup setting powder, yes, to set the brow highlights, and then you can then go over to do your eyeshadow. As you can see right now, I'm trying to set the brow highlight. You focus more on your brow highlights, not your eyeshadow base. Okay, your brow highlight, or should I say your brow bone, is where you focus majorly on. So you apply a lot amount of product on your brow highlight. When you're done, you just use a little powder from your brush to blend out the other part of your brows. As you can see, this is how it's going to come out. Then you can then focus on your eyeshadow. So guys, I really hope someone out there really learned a thing or two from this tutorial. You can drop all questions at the comment section and tell us what look you'd like for us to recreate next. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification icon so you can tell whenever we put a new video. See you guys in my next video. Bye.